Perfect. So, welcome everybody to episode number 29. Welcome to the Daily Crossing. We happy to have you with us today. How's everybody doing? Good to see
Feeling
you.
good.
Good to see you, Alexi.
29 is a special number.
What's happening out there is I'm being told that you are going around checking out who's taking out The Sound of Freedom, right? What new movies are coming out? What did you find out there? Who's the aggressive competition?
Barbie is taking the show.
Did you wear pink?
I didn't wear
Going
pink. No. I didn't see Barbie.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I mean, maybe I might see it at some point.
a
But
classic
I have not
Barbie
seen
watcher.
Barbie yet. I mean, Barbie is significant to the history of America. Do you know this? Right?
Yes.
So it's important. But no, I haven't seen Barbie. But no, but
very significant.
and I'm joking by the way. But Barbie, they have like because I went to the theater.
Yeah.
And everybody had on their pink dresses. Both guys and girls, right? They had on, like, it looked like they was going to, like, the Sweet 16 or something like that. But the interesting thing was there was no kids. It was all adults.
That makes total sense. Nobody plays with Barbies anymore.
That's true, yeah. So, yeah. But I guess Barbie is more important than what is going on with children trafficking.
We'll
I don't understand why.
We'll mention that a little more
Yeah.
as we go along, just because there's a specific number of. There's only so many available movie theaters that you can go to, and so obviously, who has the power to reduce or command? We'll talk about that a little bit but eventually is also pushing out a little bit of room that Sound of Freedom had out there. But guys, a couple of things that I want to make sure we can cover today. There is a brand new theme park that's being built somewhere, potentially at some point becoming the competition to
Oklahoma?
Disney, right? North, not just Oklahoma, but North Oklahoma. And
Who the hell goes to Oklahoma?
$2 billion put in there. Hey, it could be that, like, you know what I mean? It's being called the American Heartland Theme Park and Resort, right? So
Oklahoma, just
so
because
we
of the
can
name.
put that just the name, right? And then we also have, as you know, there's
Seriously,
a new.
Oklahoma?
Yes. Listen, there's a lot of beautiful things out there, right? And the fact of the matter is, people are looking into competing.
Find out what is there.
Yeah, the search it. Beautiful things about North Oklahoma. You'll see incredible
there
things.
to
Right?
do.
So,
Fishing.
but it's funny, the timing of this, right? Is like there's actually people with a few dollars. $2 billion is $2 billion,
That's
guys.
true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are looking into, hey, this could be the right time for a lot of people that are very dissatisfied with what's going on with Disney. But we'll go with that. Another thing that I wanted to highlight for you, a judge already, federal judge, has set the trial date for Donald Trump. Persecutors wanted to get this done already starting in December. Even the judge at that point agreed that it was too soon considering the value of information. The Trump defense camp was actually requesting for this to be done after the election. The judge is setting the date for May 2024, which, at that point you will know who the leading candidate will be. Even though you're not fully done with primaries, you know what I mean? But at that point, you will know if he is the candidate. And I don't know what kind of impact that will have, but we'll go back on that a little bit, guys. But also, the DOJ is suing the state of Texas. At some point, the state of Texas ended up setting up some floating barriers. You know what I mean? Remember that the wall building process was interrupted. You know what I mean? That didn't go anywhere anymore. And they're actually taking down certain areas, you know what I mean? And at some point, areas where the wall was not built, they actually had placed, the back of a container, the backside of an 18-wheeler, you know what I mean? They placed it out there, and that already was removed out of the state of Arizona, and now they're suing the state of Texas so that they can remove these barriers. And I'm going to tell you what part of the argument for the DOJ happens to be. And then finally, something that everybody, especially those New York loving people, you know what I mean, the mayor of New York is sounding the alarm saying, we have no more room in these hotels for the amount of immigrants that are coming into, and they
Seriously?
keep sending to, like the guy is literally complaining, we have no room, stop it, no more. Mercy, I don't know
It's
what
only
they
been
call
what,
it.
like 6 months?
Yeah, probably less than that. And I would say about 4 months since this officially really started. And it's definitely a joke. But guys, going back to now a little more seriously about this thing with this movie. When this movie, Sound of Freedom, came out, the fight was one of the concerns, being that the actual producer of the movie wanted to get this done somewhere around September. As a matter of fact, September 15. 16 or 15? 16 is that. 16 is the 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think.
So I think it's also part of the whole Central America. There's one of them that celebrates the 16, but anyway, that's their Independence Day. So they were thinking Sound of Freedom, Independence Day for Mexico. That's the a lot of the things that they were chasing and taking place happened throughout Central America, throughout the Caribbean, and throughout some of the main places that the movie. So they felt in their head. Angel Studio says, whoa, 4th of July, right? Let's not just go thinking about that. So obviously the concern was, are we going to be able to get to enough movie theaters? They got all the way up to 2,800 by the time they got to opening night, and I think they were able to successfully get a few more. But two things will actually happen after that, though. One of them, the movie turned out to be very successful, commercially speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put aside the message that a lot of people right now, I don't want to say a lot of people, there are some people that are really divided on terms of as to whether or not this was a good message or is a conspiracy theory. From my side, personally, it's the only reason why I even enter the conversation about what's going on in the border, right? Commercially, came in with the money, but make no mistake about it. Yeah, this will be considered, if you look into how much money it took to make, to how much money it's already.
Yeah.
This, by the way, it's not showing anywhere else except for, you know what I mean, for the state of. I mean, it's nothing is happening outside of the country right now. This is just based on what happened in the United States, and now it's finally showing in different countries, so it's going to start opening up. This is a movie that can very easily get to $250, $300 million, right? That cost $14.5 million to make. That's an incredible success commercially,
absolutely.
right? That's. How do you stop the movement? Well, you make it irrelevant. You squeeze it out. You replace it with other things. And Indiana Jones was not able to get it off track. As a matter of fact, it performed better on opening night. Mission Impossible. I mean, listen, this guy Tom Cruise
jumping off of a cliff 7 times.
The guy, I don't care. He's gonna be 102,
and he's still gonna be.
And he's still gonna have these blockbuster movies. You know what I mean? It's like the guy is an incredible commercial success when it comes to this environment. So tough to compete there. Yeah. But now, but I want you to keep something in mind though. Every time so these movies are coming in, you fighting for space. Now it's all about retail, right? Who's gonna have access to most of the movie theaters? Then Barbie just came out, right? I'm gonna tell you. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this whole idea of this movie now being squeezed out of some of the movie theaters to allow. I mean, just think about the message of Sound of Freedom and put it next to what's coming out of Barbie, right? And funny enough, I actually do believe that Barbie has been connected now to the American fabric of you know, there's just a way of thinking that children used to play with these things, you know what I mean, a lot. And so, but the message is extremely different, you know what I mean? And so, what's your take on that, though?
Yeah. Like I said, to me, I always get cautious when I see somebody going very hard on trying to do something that doesn't make sense. Like, it's not like naturally people are not wanting to see the movie. So then now I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't you want people to see the movie? Do you get what I'm saying? So then now I'm just questioning, what's your motive? What is it that you're trying to prevent people from, like, even if it was a conspiracy theory, it's not been proven they blew it out of proportion. They figured out a way to like support a group that I didn't even know existed. Whatever. Even if that was happening, why would you be going out of your way to like not want people to know it? And then that, if anything, for somebody like me, I pay attention to it more. Do you get what I'm saying? So, because I'm like, anytime you're trying to stop something, it's probably because there's something that's being said you don't want people to hear. I want to know what that is. So, I feel like if anything, it's going to create a backfire because of the fact that they're trying to stop it. It's going to make people like myself want to know why. So now I want to go see the movie, even if I didn't see. Why?
And
Why
you're
they don't want me to see?
recruiting because you're bringing people like
Correct.
constantly
Correct.
to.
Correct. So to me, I feel like certain messages you can't stop, but if an entity tries to stop it from being heard, it's like you tell your kids, "Don't touch this." Now I want to touch it. Now I want to. Don't go in this closet. What's in that closet? You get what I'm saying? So I feel
A closet
like,
is never a good
I know,
place,
right?
just so you know.
So for me, I don't think it's gonna help what they're doing. If anything, it's just creating negative publicity, which is still good for them and their purpose as far as spreading the message. So that's how I feel
Yeah,
about it.
I mean, for me, to be honest with you, I don't know that like Barbie was launched to counter, you know, like movies dates specifically are set like way in advance. So I don't think it was something that like all of a sudden they decided to rush and put at this time. What bothers me is the media aspect of it and how much attention, you know, it's getting. And it's what is the issue that I have is the whole people are not talking enough about certain things, but they're willing to highlight this particular thing just to create a distraction. So I'm not okay with that. Everybody's doing their part. I mean, everybody's buying tickets to make sure that it's like you're even sponsoring people to go. I encourage everybody to continue to that as much as possible. 10 million people have seen it. That was the last little clip that I saw. And it was crazy. What I love about the fact that what's happening with this movie is that the vision was 2 for 2, right? It was 2 million for 2 million children being adopted worldwide.
They
On
shouted
an
those
annual
numbers
basis.
already.
Oh yeah, and it's like way over. You know, right at this very time, the last time I saw is 5 times more. So like, you know, it is becoming a movement. We just gotta continue to talk about it and you know, be opposite to the media. That's the whole purpose of being here. You know, have a conversation where it's like, we'll present to you both sides. Go think about it, be curious, and go research your own thing.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's the reason why I decided to open with this conversation. I mean, 3 reasons. One of them, it's not even so much about being opposite to them. It's about truly finding a balance on a conversation that is becoming more and more irrational. You know what I mean? And so I hope that eventually people will be, you know, just will take it, will value more the fact that somebody's saying, listen, you make up your own mind, but by the way, this is the other side of the argument, opposed to just, you know, media outlets that are making it seem like, you know, a conspiracy theory, all these right-wing people that are, and again, the question is, like you're asking, you know, who are they trying to protect? Now, the second point is, all these companies are king queen makers, you know what I mean? Like they have the power to say, hey, we're gonna need more movie theaters, you know what I mean? Who's not performing, get rid of those guys. And they can put a lot of pressure on making this happen. So if you already have a group of people, and it's not just that they can potentially be angry about the message of the movie. For some of those people that may even participate in those environments that happen to be connected to companies like that, you know what I mean? They have the power to do distribution. But it's a little bit of an insult, you know what I mean? There's something that commercially only cost the investment is $14,000, is outperforming, you know what I mean? A lot of, so you kind of take that personally, so you want to squeeze it out so that the numbers don't look better. Listen, the fact that they have to say, one of the studios or one of the media outlets actually said, well, you know, there was a lot of pre-sales involved, and they shouldn't count that as part of the day one. Well, why not?
That's the whole point.
Almost,
people line up on movie theaters. It's been like a thing.
You know, it's so funny you say that. So this is a little bit off topic, but I think it has to do with the same thing. So I was actually listening to a podcast where Nicki Minaj was on there. You guys know who Nicki Minaj is, right? And she was saying how Billboard, they actually changed the way how they rank who is the top, like, 100 for the Billboard charts. And the reason why they did it is because before, you didn't have to have radio play for you to be recognized as being on the top 100. Now they changed the rules to where you must be played on the radio to be recognized as the top 100. And the reason why they did it is because some group, I never even heard of this group before, but they ended up on the top 100, but because they weren't like a part of the same major labels, and they still made it to be that high.
What was the name?
It was called like BTS or
BTS, yeah, the Korean.
I don't know who they are. I never heard of them. I don't even know.
Pretty good, actually.
I've never heard of them.
I didn't know you were into K-pop.
Koreans singing. By the way, you gotta see them singing.
No, I don't gotta go see
singing
anything.
Despacito.
I don't know who it was, but yeah,
In
but
Spanish.
either way,
You gotta see that. You gotta see it.
So this is important though,
Don't
because
judge.
they were saying
Don't
how
judge.
because they made it there, but they weren't getting the same radio play.
So you know, Marvin was watching Barbie
I know, he was.
on a pink dress.
So, but yeah,
Listening to
but this is
K-pop.
important. So what they wanted to do is they don't want it to be where anybody who's not a part of their group gets recognized as being a, so another thing, forget even the message of the movie, it could even be they're just like, you're not a part of the studios that make money with us.
Correct.
So we don't want to now have it to where you can win awards, you can
Fucks
get
you
special
up.
recognition, you're gonna make less money, just because we're not making money with you. Forget your message. We just don't like the fact that we can't make some money with you. You get what I'm saying? And
No,
that could be it
I
too.
agree with you.
They could have.
But they messed
could've.
up. They messed up. They messed up.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that leaves the door open for the argument of many other things. But the last point of connected to that goes that there's two real movements that actually came out of this situation, or something that you haven't seen before. People coming out of a movie theater, immediately getting in front of a camera, you know what I mean, putting a message, Instagram, Facebook, anyway, just literally talking about the experience they went through. And, you see those things also quickly disappearing, you know what I mean? The cat jumping, the grandma's, or taking grandma's hairs is still showing a lot, but you see something like a lot of people are saying, this message is being taken down, you know what I mean? And the pay it forward movement that came out of it. It's something that you never seen before I don't remember ever in
Buying
a movie
tickets
theater.
for somebody.
Hey, I got another 20 tickets for The Godfather, so you can go watch it. I doubt never
Matter of fact,
happened.
the last time
so
I
unique.
did something even similar to that, I think was like Titanic, where like I seen it 3 times in theaters. That was the only.
No,
other
but
movie.
you went to see
you
it.
were-
You didn't pay
you
for
were
somebody
I didn't pay
else.
for somebody, but I still went
He
to
was
see
paid
it.
up for.
You were crying.
No, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I
Like,
didn't cry.
don't let go.
Don't let go, Jack. Don't let go.
But that was the closest thing that was even remotely.
You were paid it
similar.
forward
Did you let
to
go?
yourself.
No.
Tell me
Did
about
you hear
it.
that? It was
That was a great movie, by the way. Why you guys saying about Titanic?
No.
That was a good movie.
paid forward.
Titanic opened
Hold
the
on.
door for like
Yes.
4-hour movies.
Exactly.
Let me
Like,
explain
what the hell?
this. Let me explain how it works. You pay it forward, so that another person has to. You can pay it forward for yourself. You know what I mean? So
No, but can I
that's
tell
the
you that
difference.
is Angel Studios'
Yeah.
business model.
Correct.
Like a lot of their content online is. I've been like I'm all for the Turtle Twins. Like
Yeah.
I love that show.
I never heard of them until this. So,
Yeah, but it's
yeah.
like, so literally I went into the website, and usually those are all like subscription based,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's not. It's just, hey, this content is free because somebody else paid for it. So
got
if
you.
you have
Right.
the opportunity to do it, pay it forward. That's their business model. I love it. I freaking love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the purpose of this is we're going to keep it alive. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it part of the conversation. We want to see how it's going to perform internationally, especially in some of these countries where, remember, a lot of these countries where this movie is going to be playing out is literally places
it's
where it's
happening.
actually happening.
Yeah.
Where you actually have some of the actual, criminal cartels and some of the people that actually manage that as a business. So how are they going to react? Are they going to let that peacefully play out and just let it be what it is, and respectfully, take a step back? Are they going to become? Listen, this gets a little dangerous once we
That's
go
true.
into those territories. You know what I mean?
I
So,
get you.
so I'm really keeping an eye on that to see how that develops. But anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate your also helping keeping it alive. I think it's super important. Anyway, Disney is really concerned right now, just so you know. Disney is extremely concerned. I know they don't want to say, hey, guys, they should be.
No.
They should. Let me tell you, they dropping prices right now to be able to get. They lost a lot of memberships. They lost
The National Memorial, the Oklahoma Zoo, the National Western Cowboy
Don't hate
thing,
on Oklahoma. Don't-
Botanical Garden,
Don't hate on North
the
Oklahoma.
aquarium,
There was nothing here.
Science Museum.
Hey, whoa! What they would have here other than gators and a lot of the
Beaver Bend
orange groves?
And
There was was there-
Warlock.
and horses.
Beaches?
What else do we have? No,
Beaches?
not on this side. This is Orlando,
I get
right?
you.
Orlando, Kissimmee.
Highest
Right?
ticket.
If you were talking about Tampa,
It's
you could even
$22.
say, right? I mean, if you were talking about those places, I get it. There was nothing here. Here's somebody is saying and by the way,
Yeah.
it's a question of, there's a real possibility because there's a lot of people that are
Alexis is like,
extremely dissatisfied. It's a possible. All I'm saying, can it be?
I do. I want it to be
It's
possible.
impossible.
I just,
No.
it's a
There's
location.
somebody-
For me, it's a location issue, right?
They-
You used to be in real estate. What is it? What do they say? Location, location,
Yeah.
location.
Yeah, but the strategically selection, you got to do it based on also, listen, your ability to buy
Don't you
enough
get like
land.
snowed out in Oklahoma?
That essentially, this will have the ability to be as big as or even
No,
bigger than
no.
Disney.
So-
Right? A $2 billion investment to get it off the ground, guys.
Guys, can you move it?
No,
Go
so
somewhere
correct.
else.
There's a philosopher once said, "Your arms are too short to box with God," right? And this is a rapper, by the way. But the point is, there are weight classes. They're not even in the. They are not even in the weight class right under Disney. So before they compete with Disney,
Yeah, you gotta take out
You
a
gotta
couple
take
people.
out a couple other people.
I believe-
I think there might be competition for Fun Spot. But not Disney.
It's bigger than
I
that.
Not
believe-
Disney.
It's bigger than that.
I believe it could be like the whole Sound of Freedom and Indiana Jones type of thing. I do believe it can happen. I just do not think it can happen in that location.
You got to think about it. There's Six Flags, right?
Listen,
No, I get
There's
it.
Six
Look,
Flags.
I'm with
there's
you, brother.
Universal.
I'm with you.
There's Cedar Point. There's a lot of
What
other.
the hell is a Cedar
You don't
Point?
know Cedar Point? Cedar,
No.
Oh, see. Well, there you go.
There's
So-
a Hershey.
No.
amusement
Cedar
park.
Point. Cedar Point. This is in Ohio. It's one of the biggest
It's
theme
in
parks.
Ohio. That's the problem.
Correct, but it's one of the biggest theme parks in the world. They have more roller coasters than any other theme park in the world.
That is news to
but
me.
you guys don't even know about them.
I'm
So
from
before,
You know about Cedar Park?
I
Cedar
know,
Point.
but I've never been to
Cedar
Point?
Point.
Cedar
Yeah, Cedar
Point.
Point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before they could compete with Disney, they got to compete with like entities like that. And then also one of the reasons why Disney is so awesome is because it has more than just one thing. They have more than one location. Even Six Flags, I think, got a couple locations.
Yes, dude.
You get
If you
so-
check Alexi, he's got like a Mickey Mouse tattoo right
Maybe,
here.
but nobody's gonna see
Thug
it.
Life Mickey Mouse. Like
Well, I mean, remember.
in the closet hitting on the
I think to be fair, I think it's possible that they could compete, but it's going to take them at least another 2
Hey guys, remember that before Disney was Disney on
Yeah.
terms of theme parks, you know what I mean? What they were really was a sequence of characters. They were, you know what I mean? And movies about those characters that they created. That's what makes it very difficult
The
for anybody else to
attachment, yeah.
compete, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you go to.
that's why Universal
And-
went like Harry Potter.
100% and superheroes
Yeah.
and so and so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but I don't know. Listen, this is just the beginning of something, because truly the marketplace. I mean, let's face it. The marketplace is saying there's a little room. In all fairness, though, Disney couldn't do today what Disney was able to do if they were buying land at these current prices.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because once everybody knew, as a matter of fact, Disney was not meant to be in Orlando in a portion of Kissimmee.
like Oklahoma?
They were supposed to be in Daytona.
Daytona. That's one of the
And Daytona, and then somebody found out that whoever was buying the land
Yeah.
was Disney. Immediately, prices went from $1,000 to $100, $1 million because obviously they realized the buying power. So they quietly went from there to all the what do we have
Lake
here?
Buena Vista.
What do we have here before? Orange groves. We
Yeah.
had horses. We had
Yeah.
snakes. We had gators. We have and now yes, you have that, but that started.
I get you.
I don't nothing
get
is.
you. Yeah.
All I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I
That's a
think
lot
that
of
the
money.
marketplace. I think that a lot of people. I think that $2 billion can absolutely give you.
I don't think it's enough.
A nice looking plane.
I think you need way more.
To get it off the ground, you're
Yeah,
saying that
yeah. To compete on that level, yeah.
Well,
you need closer to like
Harry
100.
Potter. It took $1 billion just to do Harry Potter, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's one portion of the theme park.
But it's Harry Potter. I mean, that what was put together there was also.
Wait, so what's gonna be the character for American Heartland? Abe Lincoln.
That would be nice.
I would love it.
That would
Yeah,
be
like,
nice.
for real, I'm not even joking. That would be freaking phenomenal.
There's a lot of children would
need
be
a
very
cartoon.
happy if there was a Donald Trump, like, you know what I mean, the character. No,
It's not happening.
That's not gonna do
They're gonna
it,
have
right?
Obama on the theme park.
No, you
Go.
can't have any politics or any real people.
Listen,
it has to be fictional characters.
We're gonna look into it, and
Yeah.
that's what it is. But remember, they can also do
Yes.
acquisitions. You know what I mean? They can. So it apparently the people that decided to make this choice.
I mean, awesome for them. I would go. I'll go to Oklahoma. That would be a reason to go to Oklahoma. Is for the
That's
theme
my
park.
point. You know
But
what I mean? We got-
in no way, shape, or form are they competing with anything going on in Florida or anything connected to Disney or even Disney's competitors. They're not even at that level yet. But I think it's awesome though. I like it. More theme parks the better.
We shall
Capitalism.
see.
Yeah.
The
I
jury's
like
out.
that.
We're gonna go take a look at it and see
Yeah.
what happens. But
I'm rooting for them.
we're rooting for
Just don't
them
like the
tremendously.
location. I
Rooting
don't
for
know that
them
I'm gonna go.
tremendously.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
send
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
I'm gonna pay it forward.
Anyway, guys, going into something a little more serious in terms of what's going on, what the country is facing right now, with all these legal issues that are taking place in the Trump camp, and also obviously and very clearly now with the Biden family and the Biden administration. You know, a lot of people are arguing that the people that are really the movers and shakers of this political arena and environments, they're suggesting that, and again, you know, if anybody wants to say, well, that's a conspiracy theory, I want to be very careful about what I'm about to say because there's something about it that makes a lot of sense, you know what I mean? And that's my personal opinion, right? It's saying that there's a possibility that the only reason why no serious legal action or criminal action or any real investigations have materialized yet is because they are holding that as an ace in the hole type of card, just in case the situation where Biden is not going to become reelectable or is very clearly that he can potentially lose the election, well, they can go to him and say, listen, we're going to replace you. And here's what we're going to. I mean, it sounds a little crazy when the first time that I heard that, but it's also possible because a lot of the stuff that the Biden family and a lot of the things that are emerging right now, from videos to the allegation, whistleblowers, and it's getting to the point where he's saying, wait a minute, I mean, where are we here? Is this Romania or is this?
Video game where it's like you have to like plug the hole and it's like and then you cover it with like your knee and then like these dudes
that's
covering all that
literally-
shit.
it's just
They're like
getting
trying
to
to
the
cover it
point.
with like
Yeah,
their.
but what happens is more hands come out.
I was gonna say it's like.
Now,
All
whether
the
you
dead
like,
people
whether you
voted.
like or don't like, you know what I mean, Donald Trump, the fact of the matter is that they had been on it, and they made it very clear we're coming after this man, and whether you agree that he's responsible, guilty or not guilty, you do have to pay attention to how the whole situation is being managed. You know what I mean? Which one has a level of almost carefree. We don't know what's gonna come. Maybe nothing happens. To the other one is super intense.
Yeah.
Right, where there's a real persecution taking place. So this is the federal case related to the January 6th. Obviously.
Oh, I thought it was the documents.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. This is related to
I
the
don't think nothing's
to the
come up.
documents that
For
well,
January
that's
6th.
about to right now. That's
They're
a
gonna indict him a
different.
third time.
Correct. So now the whole idea, if this is election interference, right? And they were trying to make this trial date, right, to get in front of a judge and to get this going. The prosecution wanted to get this done already in December, which means we want to get this done way before we actually get to the election, right? The judge, being reasonable enough, says, listen, this is mountains and mountains of that. There is absolutely no way, nobody, not even with the best intentions, can actually get everything done by that date. So, and also the the Trump camp actually, the defense team said, how about we do it after the elections, right? Especially with the argument of
Why would
election
they do that?
interference, right? Because if you truly believe that all of this is being done just to stop you from running, right? And you still want to even test the system a little bit, just to say, you know what, why don't you let me get this run done? And if you still find me to be somebody that's got to go through a system, even if you still find me guilty, at that point, why don't you let me continue my run? Because it doesn't feel so much as it's a case where I done something wrong, especially in this case of documents, where most people will argue that he had the right to do, just about everything that he did, and that his errors, his mistakes here are no different than the mistakes that our current president already made. And that in some cases, he even made them as a vice president, not even as a president, right? Which is even worse, right? So the whole thing is so to the question of why would they say after the election? Well, because they truly believe that everything that's going on right now is about election interference. So right now, the trial date is set up for May 24th. What's your
May
take on this?
2024.
May 2024. I'm sorry.
So for me, I mean, that's a long time from now, and we don't know how many other things is going to happen between now and then, because even with this whole new potential indictments that he might be facing, I don't know. It's just, for me, I feel like every other week I'm hearing new information about what's going on. Should we hopefully I don't know, I don't want to push anything bad, but we don't even know if Biden's gonna be alive at that point in time. You get what I'm saying? So there's so many different things that can change the way how all this goes.
I'm praying.
You get what I'm saying?
Baby Jesus, all day, every day, that guy makes it through his canyon. Just so you know,
Good.
I'm like, that dude better make it.
Let me get a little
Like,
closer.
She was
to
gonna say.
January 20. When is it? February 2024. I'm praying that guy makes it. Like, just so you know.
Correct.
Like,
Got you.
all of them say.
Oh, you want him to make it? Because
I want him to
you don't
make
want
it.
you don't want Kamala to
No,
become
hell to the no.
Yeah.
No.
So, but you see what I'm saying? So for me, it's too much time right now to really see how things are gonna pan out. I mean, it's just another obstacle he's gonna have to deal with. But I mean, I think he's expecting all the things that are happening, so I think he should be fine.
To me, I think it's good because May 2024 is like you are there, you get to deal with it, you pack. I understand what you're saying, and I see that strategy. But for me, it's like the sooner the better because you can get it out in the open, and he doesn't have to have this hanging thing on his head that is like, well, we still don't know if what you did was really bad. It's just like, okay, here whatever the thing is, whatever the verdict is gonna be, and it's done.
Yeah,
It's
but,
like,
I mean,
you have
just
nothing to worry about. So
guys, I mean, just to give you a perspective, I mean, the moment the announcement was made, right, and he went through the system, right, just specifically connected to this case, his poll numbers went up,
right.
and he literally was able to raise millions of dollars immediately after this actually happened. So of course they are concerned about, okay, if we let this get a little closer to the election, what will actually happen? I think this is a lose really scenario for Democrats.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And for the country.
Yeah.
Right, because now if you're talking about a country that's already divided, and we are going to argue who broke the law at a greater level, right, and who has less moral character than the other guy. One of them, a sitting president, and the other one who was the former president. That's a real terrible conversation. That means that we are in trouble as a country. You know what I mean? But I think that the Democrats will have a situation here that will truly backfire on them if they're not careful, because by May, the primaries are not done. But you will truly know who's leading, at that point. And if at that point is Donald Trump, and that's what everybody, with Vice President, with Vice President Vivek, you know what I mean, and potentially.
Believe in you, Vivek.
He's just
showing on the polls.
He's gonna be
There's a
raising a
couple
lot of
polls that he's
cuts.
showing,
Correct.
just
No,
so
no.
you know.
Listen, he went up, and I'll, as a matter of fact, we're gonna give you in a few minutes just to make sure that we can address the situation with him. You know what I mean? He's doing something. Vivek is doing something that most candidates don't do. By the way, that was a Trump characteristic that was highlighted by everybody who's paying attention. Donald Trump was outworking everybody. Hillary Clinton, when he ran against her, definitely Biden, who came out of the basement like 3 or 4 times, and this man was all over the place. Vivek to literally saying, you know what, I think I'm going to take a page out of the playbook and let me go outwork. The guy is everywhere, whether they like him, don't like him, he'll go to the people that likes him.
He's
he'll
doing
go
a
put up
download
there.
with PVD.
He's doing exactly. So
I love
Patrick
it.
David is going to set that up. As a matter of fact, I want to speak to you guys to see if you
We go.
if you want to
Yeah.
go. Right?
That'd be nice.
With that being said, you know, the amount of money that can be raised, but once you know, and I have no doubt in my mind that Donald Trump will be the candidate for it. This is not a DeSantis moment. It doesn't feel like DeSantis is really
he's
running.
dropping the ball.
I think, yeah, but I think that I listen. He wasn't in all fairness to the governor, right?
And rolling.
In all fairness to the governor, you know, Ron DeSantis had no choice but to jump in because everybody was actually expecting you to jump in. And when you happen to be in that situation, the question is not win or lose. You know what I mean? It's you got to jump in, because if you don't, then there's something about that will trigger even a bigger question mark for the next election where you're supposed to be running. So you show up, you do a little, you're already showing as the number 2 guy, you know what I mean, without really doing much of anything. He's still arguing that it's media that want to make it seem like he's not doing any work. But in reality, we're looking at the polls. The polls are not moving. If anything, in some areas, he's losing ground. And then you have somebody like Vivek, who's actually gaining ground. Yeah. But do you see yourself donating a few more dollars to Donald Trump for
not donating any money to anybody? No,
No.
not at all. But I actually still like Ron DeSantis. You know, I like him more than I like Trump. I think that he's making the biggest mistake ever, though, which is challenging Disney at the wrong time, you know. And I think that whole thing he thought was going to be simple. I don't think he realized how big of a deal that was, and I think it started hurting him because he's taking it too far. And so I think that was one of the biggest mistakes he's made, is trying to go too deep on this big thing going on with
his
Disney.
strategy is being Trumpier than Trump.
Yeah,
And is backfiring.
Correct. Because he's creating too many enemies. I feel like too early. It's like you got to be in a position.
No, and if you're gonna be that person, you gotta know how to manage the enemies. The thing
Like,
about it is
I was at a what do you call it? I was getting food the other day, like a weekend ago, and there were people passing out stickers. It said, you know, F Ron. I was like, what? And I was like, oh wow, this is that serious to where like people are going around like rallying against him. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too early.
It's already happening, and people that are really paying attention.
Yep.
But as a matter of fact, one of the things that I want to do, if we can find a video, and we're going to add it to this video, so there's a little small, it was an interview that was done with Vivek and Glenn Beck. Here's what Vivek has been able to do that Ron DeSantis is not doing. His positions are very strong positions. They not. I mean, when you're talking about right to the right, he's actually very to the right. You know what I mean? This is not a question. He's in a Ron DeSantis type of environment, right? But he articulated a couple of things. It's not just my business experience. He said, I actually know the Constitution. It's like I took the time to learn. And if we find
ways. So I'm coming in with a clear-sighted view, Glenn, of shutting down most of the administrative state.
How realistic is that?
Very realistic. So first of all, do it on strong legal authority. So I'm a unique combination. I don't like to brag a lot, but I'm a CEO, but I've also studied the Constitution deeply. And the Supreme Court right now shares my view of the Constitution. The U.S. president already has statutory authority. The Presidential Reorganization Act of 1977 says you can shut down redundant agencies. Well, when I look at what the DEA does and what the U.S. Marshals do, there's my legal justification for shutting down the FBI without asking Congress for permission or forgiveness.
Jeez.
You know, there's another justification, stimulating the economy, also in that same statute. The $80 billion spent in the U.S. Department of Education. You know what? That would stimulate the economy to give it back to the people. That's my legal justification. So I understand the legal footing. By the way, what stopped Trump? The civil service protections, they said.
Correct.
Well, guess what? Read the law. Civil service protections protect against the individual firings of employees for supposedly political reasons. They do not apply to mass layoffs. And mass layoffs are absolutely what I'm bringing to Washington, D.C.
It's not so much how complicated your policy happens to be. It's that if you don't know how to articulate it properly, and if you don't go around making the rounds, and if it appears like you're not willing to sit in front of everybody, there was a big event, you know about it, this Turning Point Action event. Listen, anybody who was running was there. Trump was there, Vivek was there, everybody else was there except for.
And the place was Florida.
And it happened in the state of Florida.
How do you
And it was 6,000 people, 7,000 people that participated in this thing. This is not, well, again, it's like,
he's either scared or too cocky thinking I got Florida on lock.
We arguing. I know in one end you're saying, well, he made a mistake going after Disney. I don't think that was, as a matter of fact, that gave him national prominence. I think that put him in front of everybody saying, okay. And by the way, to the question of who was right about the argument, at the end of the day, he was right about the argument. Now, going against an institution that has a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of things that can hurt, yeah, absolutely. But I don't know that was the biggest issue. I will tell you, that I wasn't happy about how this whole thing with the immigration law that was passed here in the state of Florida, because I don't think that fixes anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can literally say, hey, listen, I got to worry about my state, and then everybody else has got to worry. You can make that argument also, but it still doesn't fix the issue that we're facing as a nation, right? But he's got to go out there and make that argument and articulate his position better, and he's got to be able to be confronted by other people, opposed to just having these friendly conversations with a lot of people that are not happening the way it's supposed to. So who knows? You know what I mean? We'll see how it goes. But I think that at this point it appears to be already, though. If we were in Vegas, an undeniable moment for Donald Trump to be the leading candidate. I know that Vivek can literally get to the point by the time we get to
where he passes
where he actually passes Ron DeSantis. Yeah. And that would be, now you're talking about, now you gave somebody the room to really put a big question mark for the next election, where you were supposed to be the presumptive candidate. So that can become who knows? Let's see how this whole thing is going to go.
I think we still got a lot of time.
To see how this whole thing develops. But listen, man.
Well, if there's one thing about Vivek, is that he is consistent in his messaging.
Correct.
The thing about him is that sometimes he is. The other day we were watching an interview with whatever happened at the Breakfast Club, and I was talking to Nori, and she says this guy cannot, he's gotta be able to call stupid. Like, these people were arguing stupidity, and then all of a sudden he was just saying, I understand where you're coming from, but, and it's you don't need that position when somebody is approaching you with stupid. You need to stop it and say, hey, this is not the way that it works. I completely disagree with you. Not understanding.
Well, that is I didn't want to even mention too much. I was going to do a reaction video to that interview between Patrick and Anthony Weiner. Patrick Bet-David, the PBD podcast, and
that guy.
So there is a moment where Patrick is actually telling him, here are the books that were introduced, and they're obviously very graphic. And Patrick just decided to go ahead and read the content of what's in the books and what is showing, how a boy can do what to another boy and stuff like that, right? And he said, what do you think about this? And this guy, who's a phenomenal debater, by the way, somewhere, somehow found a way to say, well, a local school board should be the one to have the right to make decisions about the things that they want to teach, opposed to something that comes from the house of the governor's house, that comes from the president, that comes from, because now you're literally dictating for the whole nation, even if you agree or don't disagree. And somewhere, somehow, though, after all the other conversations, nobody said, whoa, wait a minute. Do you actually believe that something like this will be reasonable? Because I could be somewhere in Alaska, And if I know that something like this is actually happening somewhere in Louisiana, I should be raising my voice all the way from Alaska saying, what the hell are we doing to the children of our country, right? And so, to your point of there's a lot of situations, there's a lot of conversation when the politician already starts by, I understand your position. No, that's an unreasonable position. Why would you even believe that this is something that should be acceptable at any given point? So as part of his own development, listen, he speaks fast. It's the difference between being a fast talker and somebody just speaks fast, right? And he communicates with a lot of facts. He's very factual about the process, but he's extremely knowledgeable, well-read, with a level of depthness that once in a while it will surprise you to know. I couldn't even imagine that you will know something like that, because he's a young man also to top it off,
He's
right?
a millennial.
And so, but my point to you is, if the guy continues to go this route, is a little bit of a language adjustment and also the delivery, right? That he can actually, and he will improve his position tremendously. So Vivek definitely has a lot of room for improvement. The guy is in a win-win situation. There's nothing that will come out of this election that will put him in a bad position. Even if he loses badly, he put himself out there. He's putting his own money. He's putting his money where his mouth is, you know what I mean? And he's talking about the things that he believes, and he's making a very, very good argument. So who knows? Guys, the final thing that I wanted to tell you here, and this is connected to, and we're going to put these two things together because they one of them has having an impact on what's going on somewhere else. The Department of Justice is suing the state of Texas out of those floating border barriers that they set up, right? They already forced the state of Arizona to move those container boxes. They're like literally, I don't know if you saw the images, but they went out there to remove everything so that everybody has a clear path to come into the country.
Is there a welcome sign?
At that you might as well just say
With tables and water.
you know what I mean, at some point.
Towels.
And the argument says that here's the argument. The reason why they sue, and it says it raises humanitarian concerns, and it presents a serious risk to public safety, and a serious risk to the public safety and to the environment, and may interfere with federal government ability to carry out its official duties. They wouldn't be doing that if they were doing their job. If there's anything that creates a humanitarian crisis, is the idea that you can walk 1,000 miles, park yourself at a border, and in that journey, you're going through, deal with the whole movie, Sound of Freedom, you know what I mean, is highlighting what would also happen to a lot of people that happen to be going through a journey, because they know coyotes themselves, they will sell people. It's like you're talking about the biggest, market of people. You're talking about current slavery that's taking place. And these guys are making their argument. In addition to that, if you want to laugh a little bit about a very terrible situation, the mayor of New York is saying, listen, because obviously they started sending people, you know what, we're going to send people to New York, we're going to send them to Chicago, we're going to send them to, saying no more. Please stop it. We don't have any more hotel rooms available, because they started to house people in hotels. By the way, the people that are in those hotels, they don't want to come out. They don't want to get out. They are trying to get them out. They don't want to get out. And so this guy is saying,
I go on
no
vacation,
more.
I don't want to come back home.
Listen, it's billions of dollars at this point that's going into, and the people in New York, right, they're literally saying, yeah, we want to help people, but what about us?
Yeah.
And you have people all throughout the country are saying, listen, between the money that's being sent to Ukraine right now and the way this is being managed, people are legitimately asking, what about me?
What the heck?
What about my family? What about every time I go to the supermarket? And listen, we went to
$15
you go. The other day we went to the supermarket, spent $500, and I'm like, okay, I want to see
You
what.
buy the whole cow?
It was the same shopping cart that I always take. That it will take me $230, $245 to
Now
buy.
it's 500.
Now it's $500.
Crazy.
All right. So people are asking, but the whole humanitarian crisis concern is the most hypocritical part of the argument. Because if you want to create a real humanitarian crisis, you introduce this kind of weak policies, mixed signal, mixed messages. You make it enticing. And the question is, why are we doing this as a nation, as a country? Why is there a group of politicians that just want to do it in a way that it doesn't help the situation, it doesn't help the people. It creates I understand why people listen to somebody like myself with an accent, and I can understand the animosity. Right? Because when they see these images, that's the only thing that they think about the things that we're doing wrong as a country. Only God knows who's coming in. So I understand the resentment that comes out of it. I understand the concerns also that come out of it, right? And so it just makes it harder for people that actually want to do good things in the country. They come for the right reasons, because this whole already casted a very negative light.
So I got a lot of weird mixed feelings about this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I understand why they would have to take that position, and the reason why is because of this. Just because something is not going right, that doesn't mean that anybody can take it upon themselves to make it the way they want to make it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I remember when I first found out, there was this lady who had booby trapped her house, right? To where when somebody breaks in the house, their arms would get chopped off.
How old were you? I'm trying to find out what were you guys doing?
But the lady got in trouble for that.
Correct.
She's not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to booby trap your house or booby trap your car to where if somebody tries to break in, they're going to get electrocuted. You're not allowed to do that.
Correct.
Now,
wait, so Home Alone is not a...
Yes, that's illegal. Yes, that is illegal. You can't do that.
Man.
You can't do that. So, now, and I get why they would do that, right? Is because even though you don't want people to break into your house, even though that is a problem that should be fixed, you can't just take it upon yourself to make up whatever rules you want to make up to fix the problem. So then I feel like, at least in their, and I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt, at least in their brain, you can't have just whoever saying, all right, I'm going to throw some containers out here because this is going to stop people from coming. Who gave you the, you can't do that. No, you can't. I think you're doing too much. Now, should the government fix it? Yes. But if they're not fixing it, that doesn't give you the opportunity to just do what you want to do.
So that's a phenomenal general statement. Yeah. But here's the problem, though. And you're 100%, as a matter of fact, and they are correct when they say the government, this may interfere with federal government's ability to carry out its official duties.
Yeah.
But in reality, it doesn't. The reality is, as a matter of fact, there are two entities that are involved here, right? The federal government have to enforce, because it's their responsibility to enforce immigration laws and borders, and really, literally, if they were doing their job, none of this would be necessary, because then also as a state, right, who happens to be a border state, you also have the right through your own National Guard and resources to protect your own state. So the argument is, listen, I'm not saying go booby trap it, right?
Yeah.
What I am saying is that somebody broke into your house and you have a weapon, you have the right to use it. That the law allows you to do that. And what they're saying is, and you don't have to, again, booby trap it, but you can get a stronger door. You can put a few more locks through the door. You can do a few things. So these are just preventing measures that will highlight what areas have more problems, and to try to just minimize it and reduce it. They know very well that also they're not going to be successful in stopping these things 100%. It's just a question of reducing. Why will you not, as a federal government who's responsible, again, for the safety and for the immigration laws, allow something that would only reduce it? Listen, if they were dropping gators, right, along the Rio Grande, that would be a significant problem, right? That's something that, talking about something.
Right.
By the way, just so you know, there are people that mentioned and suggested that idea. That would be a horrible thing to do for
Right.
so many reasons.
Right.
That's not it.
But
Right, right.
for their defense, to them it's the same thing. For you to create a barrier that if somebody was walking however many thousand miles, and then now instead of them being able to just walk in, now there's a thing for me to climb. Who put this here? It was never supposed to be put here in the first place. Do you get what I'm saying? That creates another situation.
But that is the
you
point.
can't
That there
do.
is a open invitation to say, come in. We're not really gonna do anything
I
about
get
it.
you. I'm not
it's-
saying
by the
that's
way,
correct.
And
But
shit
just because that's not
leading up to
correct.
that point is terrible. What is happening
I get
to
it,
people?
but the answer can't be because you don't like that I didn't fix it. I'm just playing this. Because you like that I didn't fix it. You can't just do whatever you want to do. Now you're going beyond what your capabilities are.
But
because
it's
and
the
I get it.
state that
Yeah,
is
but this-
being directly affected to it.
I
That
get
code
it.
from New
I get
York
it. But
is saying, Yo, too many
unfortunately,
It's
your
like-
state is not a country. And me as the country now, I can say that okay, you do have certain rights, but you went too far with this one.
Living in your
You
parents'
Yeah, no,
went too far with this
no,
one.
I understand
That's
what you're
I'm
saying. The thing is that it's going to be a very difficult argument.
and like I
for-
said,
Texas is gonna become its own country.
it's
They
going to be
could. They have a big economy.
You know?
it's going to be a very
Yeah.
difficult argument for the DOJ, precisely because there's already precedent throughout the border about other areas that do have a barrier, they do have a wall, that they do have a. So either you.
So this has happened successfully
Either
before.
you take it all down. Listen, we have right now 500 miles of wall, which is it's not even
Right.
half of it, right?
Right.
It's not even half of the whole, but half of it was built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so either you take it all down, or you have to allow some other things to be placed along the way.
Yeah.
Now they were able to successfully get the state of Arizona to remove what they put in there. But to the argument of what creates a humanitarian crisis, though, and if that's one of if the language they are using can very, very, very easily be used against the DOJ.
No, I get
Right?
you. Now I'm saying, but there are limits to it. Yes. Can you put a lock on your door? Yes. But I don't know what the number is, but I'm pretty sure there's a number of locks that once you go past this number of locks, you went above the law at that point.
Well, the DOJ,
I don't know what that is.
no, the only way the DOJ can be successful with this is by truly arguing and proving that these floating barriers
Yeah.
are actually a hinder.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
it's
but let me-
affecting, their process.
So-
It's affecting.
They're not doing
you
anything
cannot.
anyway.
Oh, hold on,
you-
hold on.
no,
One
but
thing,
the
one
thing-
thing, one thing. Let me
no,
just say
but
one
the
thing.
reason I'm telling you this though, before is you can't make an argument, or you can't argue you're helping me too much, or we getting too much help to do the job. They really have to make an
Yeah.
argument about how is it affecting.
No, I get you.
their
I get you.
ability
But
to
also,
do that.
just to say, kind of like with the same thing that happened with the movie, maybe it has nothing to do with any humanitarianism or I'm trying to save more people. But you didn't go through the proper channels. I'm not making money. So then, no, we don't want it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you want to put up a fence, or you want to build a certain part of your house, if you don't get the proper permits, which means, once again, more people who want to make money are making money, they won't allow it. No, it's not up to code, rip that down. So it could even just be that. They don't have no problem with you doing it, but you
That's
got
a
to do it
shitty
through
HOA.
us. No, I get it, but how many neighborhoods have this? This is, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We live in a
I
country
get it.
where this is all the time, so it could even just be that. I'm not mad that you did it, but you did it on your own. You needed to come through us. And if you don't come through us, then I have a problem. I'm gonna make up a reason to have a problem because I need you to know that you can't just do what you want. It could be that too, which is unfortunate because now it's just about money.
Immigration has always been a net positive for the country.
Yeah.
It's just, but we do have to fix and help
Yeah.
protect what's actually taking place here. Immigration will always be a net positive to the country. The fact of the matter is that when you look at Europe and you look at the aging population, when you look at Japan, when you look at what's actually renewing and keeping
China.
the statistics, at a healthy, definitely not in China. China is also in trouble.
Yeah.
India is looking very well,
Yep.
and we are through the borders, through immigration, importing a lot of young, capable people that are going to stabilize,
That are having a lot
the
of
aging
children.
population, and but we just got to fix the process.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
I think that if we were able to successfully fix the process, most people will develop a much positive perspective about the flow of immigration, and they will see it as a net positive for the country.
So
right now, it's very difficult to see.
This is obviously a band-aid to the process, meaning
Has
like
been.
they,
The same
whatever
si-
the
the
stake
same
is, they
situation
just
with
put a
the-
band-aid on it.
The same situation with DeSantis.
Uh-huh.
It was a
Yeah,
Band-Aid.
it's a Band-Aid. I get it.
And this is a Band-Aid to
Nobody's
this,
coming knocking down DeSantis' little rule that he made.
No,
Because he-
because
he
then
did
You
it
know
the
what I
right
mean?
way.
So it's like, I guess so. But
Yeah.
look, that doesn't address the issue. The
No, I
issue
get
is
it.
so they used the Band-Aid, otherwise it was going to bleed out. And they're saying remove the Band-Aid, but we're just going to let you bleed out.
Yeah.
That's not a good solution,
Sure.
period. And so like that is what I actually have a problem with. Like, come in, fine, point the problem out, fix it. No one's doing anything to fix it, and that is what's annoying about this whole thing.
it's the whole idea of what you're doing is wrong.
And that is now humanitarian.
Yeah, the whole idea that all they doing successfully is highlighting what they believe is wrong, but they are not offering a solution.
Right.
They're not offering a way to
Yeah.
fix it. And so,
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
a
my
very
gosh.
difficult position. But anyway, guys,
Yeah.
that's the stuff that we have going on today. I don't know if you have any closing remarks that you
Yes,
would like to
I
do
do.
about a couple
I
of
do.
things.
And for me, I think at the end of the day, all of us, we gotta, because a lot of the topics we were talking about today, I was thinking about it from a different perspective. As far as there's a big difference between what's the right thing to do and what is legal to do. Do you get what I'm saying?
Correct.
And then sometimes you may be faced with in a position where the legal thing is not the right thing, or the right thing is not legal. You get what I'm saying? And then so now you could be faced with the dilemma. Do you get what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things that we need to do, but maybe the law says no, you can't do it this way, in this shape, or in this form. And then so now we gotta determine, number one, what is the ultimate right thing to do, and then number two, what can we do to change the laws so that the laws always point us in the direction of doing the right thing, where there isn't a law that is forcing me to do the wrong thing. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
So I think more than anything, what we all got to do is pay attention to what's going on. You know, a lot of these topics people don't care about. People care more about Barbie than the Sound of Freedom at the end of the day. And I think it's important for us to know what is going on, know what is happening, so we can know what position to take in different topics. And then more than anything, be in the know. Subscribe to channels like this. You know, make sure you pay attention to information that's not just always fun, or like, you know, like the cartoons version of what the world is. You know, so that's my biggest thing, is we just got to pay attention and then make better decisions.
I agree with you.
Yep.
For me, it goes back to making money so that you have the opportunity to vote with your dollars and vote
correct.
with your feet. At the end of the day, I'll probably go to Oklahoma and visit the damn horribly located park. Just because if I do believe in something, I'm going to go out of my way
Support it.
to support it,
Yes,
both
yes,
financially and by me showing up and being there. The number one rule of success is showing up.
There you go.
And I believe as a community, we also have to show up for the things that matter. So go watch the movie Sound of Freedom
Which-
if you
I
haven't.
was gonna say, which movie?
No,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like whatever it is. Look, if you gotta go watch Barbie wearing pink, it's okay. That's totally fine. But at the end of the day, is that make money so that you have the opportunity to vote. Put your
There you
money
go.
where your mouth is and go places.
I like it.
Yeah, you know, you can
Go Vivek.
you can make life a painful experience. You know what I mean? So I really don't have an issue to the person that says, you know what, let's just go watch Barbie for the hell of it, right? But at some point, you also got to give it a little bit of meaning, a little bit of purpose. And you definitely have to establish the difference between something that is extremely mundane and maybe fun, you know what I mean, however you want to see it. But it doesn't come close to you opening yourself to the possibility of helping with something that will be extremely meaningful and helpful. You know what I mean? Is the whole idea that I think that most people, just think about how you feel even when you walking through the street or you're driving around and you see a homeless somewhere, a homeless person, and there's a big difference with the person that just checked out and said, you know, it's just somebody that doesn't want to be part of the system anymore, opposed to somebody that is truly in a bad situation, right? And almost inevitably, you find yourself in a situation and say, I hate doing this. And you hate not because you're giving up the money. You hate because you don't know if what you're giving is going to a person who's going to really use it properly. And I came to the conclusion that I got to do things for my own reasons. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't know how the person is going to do it or the person is going to handle it. But once in a while, you get the chance to align with an idea that it appears to be a very good thing to do, a very good idea. And that's what the concept of this movie. But I also want to make sure that our conversation doesn't come across as if we are judging the people that are not able to see life the way we see it at this
Right,
point.
no.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's super important because at the end of the day, I think that if anything, that will make somebody feel like I can't be part of this because I'm constantly being judged.
Yeah.
It's an evolution. It truly is an evolution of perspectives. I think that most people will start to say, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was taking place. I was not aware of, you know what I mean? And that will apply to finances, politics, systems, everything that at some point will play a role and will have an impact in your life. And I do hope that people will find a way to just learn a little more because this scary thing about what you just said is that is the sad reality. Most people don't even care, right? So how do you get people that are so disconnected from what's taking place just a little closer and to actually even giving them the opportunity to be part of the conversation? And that's what I found extremely attractive about how the whole process with the movie went about. People talking about it, people promoting it. Was grassroots messages. It was, and then people also putting money where their mouth is. Say, you know what? We taking another big group tomorrow, right? To go watch the movie. This is for some people, it's gonna be like the third, fourth time watching a movie, and
It's like Alexi watching Titanic 3
correct,
times.
3 or 4. That is the equivalent of watching like 10 movies.
He's
you know?
so happy. He's on Netflix right now. It's like
But
on repeat.
Yeah, Jack, what? Don't
let go.
So, but for everybody watching us, listen. What
Don't
we
let
hope
go.
for is that if it's not with us, you know what I mean, I'm hoping that you will connect with a message that would allow you to elevate your perspective, enhance your knowledge base, and also to give you the chance to get involved. You're not going to be able to rescue the planet, but you definitely have the ability to rescue yourself, your family, some of the people that are very close to you, but that will require understanding how to make it happen.
Can I add something there? When I say vote with your money and vote with your feet, just so you know, you are already voting.
Yeah.
And so if you're happy with the decision that you're doing voting, continue there. You know, it's a non-judgmental process. Just know that it's happening.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy with what's happening, then be more intentional about the fact that you want things to change. You have to go vote.
Not making a choice is a choice.
Right.
So
You're not saying something is saying a lot.
So, but anyway, with that being said, thank you for staying with us during this conversation. We're gonna see you in the next one. Please pass it around. You know, comment, especially comment if you have any questions or anything, anybody or any topic that you would like us to discuss. You know, make it part of the conversation from these crazy perspectives that we got
share.
going on. Subscribe, like, pass it around, and share the video. So we'll see you until the next one. Thank you.
Peace.